All right, welcome back to another video. In today's video, this video is probably going to be the most important video that I've ever made, and I don't say that I don't take that lightly. I don't say that lightly. I produced a lot of content over the years. You know, if you look back over the Jacked and Stacked archives, I've really produced hundreds of videos. A lot of those videos have been taken down. You know, I've kind of changed directions and changed the course of the content I make several times. And a lot of this is because I'm evolving as a person. You know, who I was 3 years ago is not who I am now. And that's just the process of life. But today's really going to be one of the most important videos that any man can watch. So if you're watching this video, I encourage you to watch this entire video, listen closely, watch it 3, 4, 5 times, as many times as you need to. Watch this video and listen closely, because I promise you, this video is probably the most important video a young man can hear. This is a video I wish I heard, or I wish I had when I was in my, early 20s, late 20s even, or even in your 30s. You know, I'm 31, but even somebody in their 30s, this message is that important. Today's video, I really want to talk about the death of male authenticity. Now, authenticity is something I talk a lot about on my channel. You know, something that I kind of hone in on. I mention it quite often, and I've never really made a dedicated video on why I talk about it so much. Throughout my 20s, you know, I came to the conclusion, especially in my late 20s, I mean, when I turned 18 years old, I was pretty much a typical guy who struggled to get girls. I couldn't get any girls, in high school. Just a struggle, it was just a massive struggle in my late teens, my early 20s. It was really just an uphill battle. And during this time, I didn't really, the older millennials and Gen Xers were still kind of deluded and kind of delusional when it comes to dating and women. We still hadn't gotten to the truth of it yet. We were still, it's like, oh, learn game. It's not about your looks. Like that stuff. I know it sounds funny, but just 5, 6, 7 years ago, guys, that was how things were. That was the message. Now we're starting to see more people start to talk about the truth, but this wasn't always the case. And so majority of dating advice is, and I've came to this conclusion, that the majority of dating advice for men is essentially some variation of fake everything about yourself to get women. That's essentially what it is. If you boil it down, if you literally listen to most dating channels, dating advice at all, game and all this stuff, it's usually some variation of change something or fake something about yourself. You're not good enough as you are. You need to change something. You need to behave. You need to adopt these different types of characteristics. You need to do this. You need to do that. And the thing about attraction is that attraction is innate. And while yes, and this has come from 10, 15 years of dating, guys, this is experience. I'm not just talking from a pseudoscience or some intellectual perspective. This is real hard facts. While technically, yes, you can artificially manipulate the results. So, using these tactics and tacts and game, and not game in a sense of like charisma, like where you're just kind of working on your ability to connect with people. Not in that sense. I'm talking game in a manipulation way, right? Where you're literally acting like a clown, basically. You're playing games based off of what you think women find attractive, or what characteristics what a woman would find most attractive, and it's artificial. And the thing about artificially trying to manipulate attraction, and this is what majority of men do. Majority of men try to artificially manipulate attraction. They try to find ways to hack it, right? And the issue is that the results will only be temporary. They're only going to be temporary. Attraction can't be manipulated. Attraction can't artificially be manipulated. It can temporarily, but as a man, when you try to artificially manipulate attraction, you're only going to cause yourself more headaches down the road. A woman's going to be shit testing you. She's going to be doing little things. And all the red pill stuff basically is reactive to women not truly being attracted to majority of men. If we're being honest, the red pill is a response. It's a reaction, right? It's teaching you, well, since women respond this way, since women are this way, you need to change up this way and become this way. It's a reactive philosophy. That's or ideology, I guess you would call it. I don't know which one you would call it, but that's really what it is. And so a lot of people just tend to overcomplicate things. We really overcomplicate dating. I said this before and I'll say it again. If she likes you, you will know. If she doesn't like you, you will be confused. If you have to ask yourself, does she like me? She probably doesn't like you, bro. And this is a hard truth. This is a hard truth that I had to kind of come to terms with. In my late teens, my early 20s, I wasn't able to accept this truth. And I think many men have a hard time accepting this truth. But really, we overcomplicate all of this. We really do. It's actually pretty black and white, to be honest with you. And it's not black and white in the sense that, what women find attractive, because obviously different women are going to find different men attractive, different phenotypes, etc. So I don't mean that's black and white. However, what I'm saying is, if a woman likes you, you will know. If she does not like you, you are going to be confused. You will know in your gut. If you have to ask yourself, does she like me? She probably doesn't. And so what I've come to realize is, the more I've had to kind of change my behavior to be in line with kind of what I think a woman would find attractive, and this is what a lot of YouTube channels and content, dating content, is based off of, the less satisfaction I've gotten from just interacting with women. And that's what I've noticed over the years. I couldn't pinpoint why that I started to like dread interacting with women. I started to kind of like, it really felt like a chore. It just felt like this uphill slog every time. And I couldn't figure out why. And the reason why is because I had kind of internalized that message of that I needed to kind of change my behaviors, become this clown, become this inauthentic person in order to attract women. And this is what happens with a lot of men. And a lot of guys start to kind of just get frustrated, and they're like, I don't feel good when I interact with women. And a lot of times it's because we're being fake. And if you're being fake and you're not being authentic, you're not going to get true satisfaction from those relationships, even if they're short-term, long-term, it's just not going to work out. The funny thing is that, in more ancient times, and I don't really like to talk about, ancient times and the Stone Ages, but in this case, I'm just going to say that, in more ancient times, relationships were much different than what we experience now. Back then, a woman pretty much valued a man for her own survival, and I'm not saying that's good or bad, that's up for debate, but that was the truth. A woman pretty much valued a man for his resources that allowed a woman to survive. And I think the difference between now and then is that during those times, the men could be more or less himself. They could be more or less authentic, since there were less options for the woman to walk away, basically YOLO, and immediately find another man. A woman, it wasn't that easy. If a woman walked away from a good man, the chances of her finding another man or another opportunity were extremely low. So this allowed men to be more authentic because it gave men more leverage. And again, I'm not saying this is good or bad. This is not a moralistic debate or talk. This is more of a just kind of stating what is. Today what we have is where most men, you essentially have to kind of apply a filter to yourself and kind of like tweak certain aspects of yourself in order to manipulate or appear more attractive to women. And that's really what it is today. And I think this is why men are so frustrated. And a lot of men today they actually do what they believe or what they've been told by some YouTuber or some dating coach or something like that, or whatever. They do what they think will minimize their rejection rate and maximize the quantity and quality of sex or love that they receive. And that's really what it boils down to. And this is really an extreme form of inauthenticity. That's really what it is, Think about it. Like a lot, a lot of these dating coaches will tell you, hey man, when you're in a relationship, you got to apply more game. What kind of crap is that? Why would you have to think about how sick that is? Why would you have to apply game on your girlfriend or your wife or relationship? Why would you have to apply game? Think about that. Dread game and all these tactics that these dating coaches push just so a woman doesn't get bored with you. Like, think about how crazy that is. You're literally changing your entire self, who God made you to be, and God is subjective, whatever that means to you. You're changing everything about yourself just out of fear that a woman is going to get bored or cheat or or drain you in divorce or whatever these guys like to talk about. And this is really the danger of it, and it's essentially you basically have to put on the clown suit. When it comes to dating today, men have to basically put on the clown suit. You got to wear a mask. And this is why I think the red pill is the quickest road to isolation and loneliness, because the red pill essentially tells you to wear a mask. That's really what it's about. It's a reaction, right? The red pill doesn't take into account the nature of the individual. It tells you to be robotic. It treats men like we're robots just meant to perform for women. How sick is that? You as a man, you don't get to follow your natural inclinations, your natural emotions, your natural, what God, the universe made you to be, all for a damn woman. Think about how crazy that is, guys. Many guys want to be a player. They want to go to the club. All that stuff, bro, is a waste of time. You have to become a clown. You basically got to put on a clown suit, go to the club and gesture around and gesture max and hop around and be entertaining and run game. And if she gets bored, you got to try to entertain her more. Oh, you got to pick it up, bro. Oh, you got to increase your energy. Oh, man, you got to say this. Oh, man, no, see, you got to wear this, bro. Oh, you got to hold eye contact for 3 seconds, then look away. Fuck that. We are men. We're not meant to perform. We're not meant to live as prisoners, as slaves. And that's what you are. You're a fucking slave. That's what this makes you. The red pill, these dating coaches, they make you a fucking slave. For example, a guy, these mundane situations, a lot of these dating coaches will tell you, man, are you sitting next to your girlfriend in a cafe and do you get the urge to compliment her, bro? Compliment her beauty? Or you're sitting to a girl and you want to talk to her, bro? Don't compliment her beauty. Better not, because then she'll think you're needy, bro, if you talk about her beauty. What kind of shit is that? Or, are you annoyed that she's taking so long to reply to your text message, bro? Too bad, because you can't tell her it bothers you. Take a long time to reply yourself as well, so she becomes anxious and remains attracted to you. Think about that, guys. The more we actually peel back the onion, the more we see how crazy all this shit is. How insane and just crazy this stuff is. Another one is, are you sad because your aunt just died, bro? Well, hey man, look, you better hide that, because if she sees that you're upset, she's going to think you're a weak man and start replying to her, her Tinder messages from the Chad backlog. That's the type of shit that goes on. Men are fucking in a psychosis. It's like we're in a neurotic state. It's really crazy. Here's another one, do you want to tell a girl on the first date how she is fun to be with? Well, you can't do that, bro, because if you do, she'll think you're falling in love with her too soon and lose attraction and hop back on dating apps. Think about that, bro. Absolute insanity. And this is why I personally have come to the conclusion that the game is not worth it. And when I say the game, I meant everything I just said. Those kind of mundane situations, it's stuff like that, filtering yourself, having to wear a mask. It's just not worth it. because essentially you're forced to be an actor. You're forced to be a clown in the presence of your woman for transient sexual gain. And you're trying to artificially create attraction. And again, this is the main issue. You're trying to artificially create attraction. When a woman is truly attracted to a man, you don't have to do none of that crap. You can tell her how you feel. Obviously, I'm not saying to be a damn crybaby or trauma dump or anything like that. You got to deal with your own shit. But when a woman is truly attracted and you don't have to artificially try to create attraction, you don't have to do any of that stuff. How do I know? I've done it, guys. I've experimented over and over and over, hundreds of women at this point. And I've seen it, and I know for a fact it's the truth. Good situations where a woman is truly attracted to you they won't feel like you're expending a ton of energy every day just trying to keep a woman attracted to you. If you feel you have to labor and claw in order to keep a woman interested or to keep her attracted, chances are she doesn't really like you, and you're better off just cutting your losses. And men, for some reason, I don't know if men are just narcissistic or if it's like an ego thing. It's probably an ego thing, but men just don't want to accept this. They don't want to accept this truth, and they tell you, these dating coaches will tell you, oh man, you should do this. You should be this. These self-improvement gurus, they tell you, oh man, you should. Shoulds are dangerous. And I've talked about this before, and I think this is a whole video, but shoulds are very dangerous. Why are shoulds dangerous? Shoulds are dangerous because they are in fact very self-destructive in their nature. Shoulds put you in a straitjacket and they deprive you as a man of your inner freedom. That's why shoulds are dangerous. Even if you do manage to mold yourself into this perfect behavioristic guy who does all the perfect things and the right moves with women and everything that you think a woman will find attractive, you can do all of this only at the expense of your own spontaneity and your own truth and your own authenticity of your feelings and beliefs. You only become that at the expense of your true self, your core identity. And in a second, we're going to be talking about how to get in touch with your authentic self. It's not going to be in depth, but I'm just going to be covering a couple of just kind of takeaways. But shoulds are very dangerous. This is why I think you should stop watching all self-improvement content. Stop watching all these people who tell you, hey man, you should go to the gym. You should do this. You should do this. You should wake up at 5 a.m. You should wear this. You shouldn't do anything. All you should do is what you truly want to do. And the problem is that most men have no fucking clue what they truly want to do. Most men, the average man, is completely lost. He's completely just lost in a snowstorm. He's lost at sea. Really quickly, I don't want this video to go on too long, but I just quickly want to talk about how to find your authenticity, how to find your core identity. Now, this is some work that is kind of like inner work, and it's not the easiest work. This work takes time. This work takes effort. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen in a week. It might not happen in a month. It might not happen in 6 months. It takes time to do what I like to call peel the onion. And so you might say, well, what does peel the onion mean? What I've noticed over the years is that typically young men, we are kind of an accumulation of all the voices in our heads. And what are these voices? These are interjections of our family, your parents, your mom, your dad, dating coaches, self-improvement coaches, internet blog articles, forum posts, content creators, even me, myself. You got to peel the onion, and peeling the onion is eliminating all these voices. Counselors, literally most men are an accumulation of these voices in their heads. Peers. Oh, hey man, here's what women find attractive. Change it. You better change yourself, bro. It's your accumulation of all these voices, and getting in touch with your authenticity is really shedding those layers. And how do you shed those layers? Well, you have to debug. You have to spend time in meditation and solitude. You need to spend time debugging your own programming. That's really what you have to do. And this is not easy work. This is hard work. You have to start questioning everything you do for a temporary time period. I'm not saying forever, but for a temporary time period, you have to start questioning everything you do. Start questioning You know, why are you doing this? Why did you make this choice? Questioning everything. Journal about it. You have to write. You got to write this stuff out. You got to start debugging your wants, your desires, what you think you want. You got to start debugging and peeling back the layers until one day you'll discover there's nothing left to peel. All the voices have been shedded. And when you've shedded all the voices, the only voice that will be left is your own voice. And that voice that you can't get rid of, that's you. Congratulations. You found yourself. You found your authentic core. A lot of times this is a hard process. You might have to disappoint some people. You might have to make some choices that people will look at you like, you know, why are you making this choice? You know, you're supposed to be a good participating, a good member of society. You know, society doesn't want you to do this work, because if you do this work, this is the path to true happiness. And when you find your happiness, nobody can fuck with you. When you find your true voice and your inner happiness, nobody can fuck with you. So you really have to connect with your inner voice. You know, you have to cultivate your inner dialogue and listen to yourself. That voice that you can't get rid of, that voice, that voice that's inside of you, that's you. You know, therapy can help you with this. Therapy can also help. Therapy is really a mental, it's really like a mental crucifixion and resurrection, because it's like a religious experience in many ways. You know, a lot of the psychological theories and the psychological blockages you have, therapy will force you to kind of challenge yourself. You know, it can help you start to shed and peel back the onion and peel those layers of your own psyche. It can help you start to question things. I'm not saying everybody should go to therapy and it's going to solve your problems, but therapy can help you examine yourself. You know, meditation, solitude. Sometimes you got to just spend a long time in solitude. Sometimes you just got to break away so you tune out the noise. You know, life is so noisy. Everybody wants to tell you what to do. Everybody wants to, oh, you should do this. You should do that. You should do this. No, you shouldn't do anything. And sometimes with solitude, you got to get into solitude to really find that inner voice. And when you find that inner voice and you peel back the layers, that's where you find true confidence, inner calmness, inner peace. The conflicts, because all these different voices inside of you, your parents, the peers, these dating coaches, self-improvement, all that noise, it's conflicting. It's fighting against each other, and you're torn apart. You're confused. So write your own Bible, become your own man, get in touch with your own voice, your authenticity, that voice that won't shut up, that voice that's in you. Write your own Bible, be your own God, not in a narcissistic way, allows you to make peace with yourself. And that's what it's about. So anyway, thanks for watching this video, guys, and I will catch you in the next one.